Hey guys, welcome back. So this is a joint podcast. So it's not your normal intro. Usually I say welcome back to Exovus, but it's Exovus and Rebel Ranch today. So this is their first podcast, and I'm excited to kind of be part of the journey. So usually I go longer on the intro, but let's get straight to it. Let me start introducing themselves, or feel free to introduce yourselves. If the audio's not the best, don't worry, guys. We have a whole setup, so my audio may not be the best, but Rebel Ranch got the whole audio crew. So, anyways, go ahead, introduce yourself.
I'm Dave Harrison, the Executive Director of Rebel Ranch.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm Jessie Escobar, and I'm the Program Director at Rebel Ranch.
Perfect. All right, guys. So we're gonna, as you guys know, when I do a podcast, we just straight up raw dog it. I literally don't think about it until the second I hit record. But I think the best place to start is pretty much people know you as Pause for Success. So maybe let's start with that. Let's start with why the name changed, and is there a difference between Pause for Success and Rebel Ranch? Are they the same thing? Did you try to do the same thing, or how do you want people to know you as? Let's start with that. So,
well, the name doesn't mean anything as far as the service and the commitment to the community that we offer.
okay.
About 4 years ago, we started our nonprofit, Pause for Success. We felt that there was a disconnect between service dogs and the service that they provide and the ability to help people versus the affordability of those services. And we wanted to bridge that gap. So we started our nonprofit, Pause for Success, and focused on service dogs for veterans and children. And through the progression of the last 4 years, we really opened up our services to first responders. And it's the veterans that, showed us or pointed out to us that, hey, and to be quite frank, they said, you're just as fucked up as we are. The majority of our staff are retired law enforcement. So we started looking at it, hey, how do we help our own community? How do we help ourselves? And through that journey, we started investing in programs that did more to help people be resilient. So focusing more on mental health, still keeping the service dogs, adding therapy dogs, adding programs such as, yoga and mindfulness. And now we've branched out into equine assisted learning. So it has that life coach element with the animal element, and it helps to really enhance people's own, I don't know what for lack of better words, their own abilities.
Okay.
We're not going to teach you to sing if you can't sing, but if you're a good painter, we'll help you to hone in on those skills.
Okay. All right. So then, where did the name change come from?
So we started looking at bringing our services to different agencies, fire, police departments. And we started to see the same thing. Everybody says, hey, we're invested in mental health. We care about mental health. Okay, but the reality is we're not doing anything about mental health except standing there saying, we care about it. Let's have a certain patch, or let's say this is Mental Health Awareness Day, and let's take some pictures of some guys and gals smiling in uniform. That's not enough to really tackle the issue. So we said, you know what? We want to do things different. That's where our slogan came out, that we're doing mental fitness different. And so we came up with Rebel Ranch because we're on a ranch, and we want to challenge the culture behind mental fitness. And we took mental fitness from our local fire department. We were talking one day and they said, hey, you know what, we're changing it. We're not going to do mental wellness, it's mental fitness, because just like our employees need to invest in their physical health, and they need to eat right, and they need to get sleep, and they need to go to the gym, and they're constantly working at their physical fitness, we want them to also be constantly working on their mental fitness.
Got it. Yeah, no, that's awesome. So let's see. So I would like to know a story maybe that kind of what got you into this. So I know you were in law enforcement, sheriff, correct? But like what was that trigger that said, you know what, we are not doing our due diligence in those who are the first responders or who are veterans, and they're not getting, like, what was it where you did you need something yourself? Did you have someone who needed something personally, or were you just surrounded by, brothers and sisters who just were struggling?
I think for myself, in the law enforcement culture, you don't talk about mental health. You don't focus on that. It's a very negative thing when we get calls for service and we deal with mental health. It's you remove the problem, you bring them to a mental facility, and oftentimes you joke around about it, but they're walking out as you're walking to your patrol car, and it's like the system is broken and the system is for other people. It's not for us. We don't have these issues in our culture. Like we fix problems for people. We don't have problems.
Got it.
And so for me, the realization was when we started doing service dogs and having person after person saying, "Hey, I've been trying to get resources, but you know what? They aren't available, or they're too hard to get, or I have to sit on a list for 10, 12 years." It's like they dangle the carrot, but then they make it so that the carrot isn't obtainable.
Got it.
And I think that's with a lot of programs in our society. And then, when we started looking at our own law enforcement family and the fire department family and looking at what services were available and how we look at it from that culture, it made me look at things for myself. And, Jessie has been huge for me as being like an inspiration. We did a Zoom meeting once a week, peer support for first responders, and it was when she had the courage to sit there and talk about her own experiences in that group that it made me start to think about and question my own feelings. I always suppress things.
Yeah.
Because I'm there to fix people's problems. I don't have problems, but
Right.
failed relationships, having anger issues and lashing out for the stupidest things because I didn't really understand what was going on and I didn't
Right.
know how to communicate those things.
Right.
Drinking, and doing things that unhealthy behaviors. That it all goes in line with mental health issues and PTSD, but I didn't understand it, and it wasn't until listening to Jessie that it really hit home for me. And then I think one day I was just like, I couldn't take it anymore. I just started crying. And
Yeah.
I was just like crying all the time. I wasn't around anybody, but I was like, I can't feel like this. This is not healthy.
Right.
This is not good. And it was through that, like exploring over that last month, that it was really eye-opening. That for a long time I was just sad.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand why. And so a lot of things triggered me, and I also didn't understand the triggers and why people would say certain things. And even being like on this side of it, being retired, being in a situation where, I could be somewhere and people were watching a car chase on TV, and that would just irritate the hell out of me because I didn't want to be as proud of that career as I was. I didn't want to go back to that. I didn't want to feel those emotions.
Right.
And so it was hard for me to figure out that I needed to get help. So I did. I went to a therapist, psychiatrist, take medication. I have to be aware of certain things, but being vulnerable and being able to express and to explore those things. I ask our participants in our program to do those all day long, and it was eye-opening for me to be on the other side of it, challenging myself and coming up with different ways. And we have a friend, Christina, and she always says, if you want different, you got to do different.
Right.
And so I always repeat that to myself. When you go through the academy, they tell you all sorts of different things and all sorts of different mantras. Pain is weakness leaving the body, and all these little things that click in.
Tough.
Yes, and I had to change my mantra to hey, if I want different, I have to do different.
Right.
And here, we're not here to change that warrior mentality.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have that warrior mentality to come home safe, to be able to protect the community. But we also have to be able to have resources to click out of that and to be productive at home and to be happy for yourself and to question those feelings. Feelings are not bad,
Right.
They're good. But if we don't ever understand what they mean or are willing to question things, then we're just going to get eaten alive.
Suppressing is bad.
Suppression is a bad thing. It's someone gave the analogy of a basket. We all have a basket. Some are deeper than others, right? And if you can only put so much into that basket before it starts spilling out. So, how does that spill out? Does that spill out in substance abuse? Does it spill out in not being kind to the people around you and speaking, harsh to them? Does it spill out as violence? Does it, there's all sorts of different things
Right.
and ways that it manifests.
No, I get it. So that's a good transition to then you are in charge, Jesse, you're in charge of the programming. So how do you tackle that? And just hold the mic, because honestly, I think holding the mic when you guys are talking would be the best. Yeah, just hold that.
So I'm going to hold it for you.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
it's,
But
I got it.
that way the audio is just
Yeah.
better.
No, that's good.
But yeah, so how do you take all the, because you were PD, right? So how do you take those experiences and say, this is the program that's needed, or this is what's working, or maybe say like, these are the testing phase. Like what is the driving factor of saying like, this is what I need to do to make sure these are the results that we get?
Yeah, well, the main program is like what's in our like deep in our hearts is like for first responders and veterans, and that's the 8 to 10 week course that we have with equine assisted learning, and that's the course that I went through. And with that, we're able to bring people in and teach them valuable skills like communication, boundaries, self-awareness, things that we've kind of lost throughout our profession. So we're trying to hone in on that specific program while also figuring that, hey, anybody in the community can take a part of these equine assisted learning courses and learn all these skills regardless of whether they're a first responder or veteran, because they're useful in every situation, whether that's like for parents or kids to get them to open up and communicate better, or learn boundaries. So it's really a program that we can implement and kind of we can change the direction of where we want to go depending on who our clientele is.
Right. And so when you're creating these programs though, is it 8 weeks and done, 10 weeks and done, or do you encourage them to come back whenever needed, or are you trying to teach them those skills and say, hey, take these skills and do, like, I'll just give an example. As a personal trainer, I didn't mind if someone came back, but at the same time, again, this is mental versus emotional or physical, but I didn't mind if a client came back, but after a year, I'm like, okay, you're like my walking book, but I really need you to be able to like take it out and show people that you learned something.
Right.
So is there, like, how do you take that approach? Is it because I know that there's triggers, so I know that sometimes if someone's gonna get a trigger, and they might need, take steps back where they need to come. Is there a different program for that? They've already been through this program, or is it always just like a muscle? You're just retraining everything over and over again.
I mean, that's a great way to put it. It's like a muscle. You're retraining things on how you think and how you view things, how you respond to things, right? So yeah, we can say the program is 8 to 10 weeks, and we will evaluate how that person is doing when those 8 to 10 weeks come, and we can kind of see like, yes, they're picking these things up. They're coming to us and they're saying, hey, I tried these tactics at home and they're working. Or, hey, this is not working for me. Like, is there something else that we can do? So we're able to measure that by when they go out and they're communicating with their family or with, at work, how that's going for them. That's when they can come back and tell us how things are going for them, and that's how we kind of measure it.
Got it. And so let's just say for those who are listening, and they're feeling like you're talking to them. Is there someone listening right now? They're like, you guys are talking straight to me. How would you approach that right now? Like saying like, hey, you know what, guys, like you may be feeling this, and this, come through. And it's like you're talking to someone to bring them in, right? How would you approach that?
I mean, I think a perfect example would be like when referring to myself. So I was feeling depressed. I was feeling like I really had no purpose in life. And when I spoke with Dave and they told me about the program, I was at a point in my life where I was like, I'll try anything at this point. I've done traditional therapy. I still go to therapy. I did the medications and all that, and it was just, there's not one thing that works for everybody, or sometimes you need to do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and that's what helps you. So when I started coming to the program, I think like when other people talk about this or they hear about it, if you're feeling like these things resonate, like all you have to do is reach out. We don't turn anybody down. We'll put you through a kind of like a sample exercise, kind of show you what it's about. And what it is when people come here and they get to see how it is to work with the horses and do the exercises with the horses, they start to feel a different like sense of purpose, because they're not just sitting down and talking to somebody and going over their program, like their problems. They're put in situations where they can take that, they can learn something from it, and then go and apply it.
Right.
Whereas when you're in traditional therapy, which don't get me wrong, is beneficial in its own way, when you're going through these exercises and you can go out into the community or in your family and implement these things, that's what's eye-opening.
Got it. Now, you guys both kind of said something that I feel like maybe even I didn't even notice, or a lot of people could notice. How did you guys get to this point? Because I think the career in law enforcement is a respectable career. Even when we were talking earlier, I kind of regret not going in when I did the Explorers, and I was that, but between me and you, I had certain people who were like, go do this because you're not going to accomplish anything. So when I heard that, I was like, well, no, I'm not going to be law enforcement. I want to go do something else then. But it's still a career that I feel is respectable. You guys are putting your life, your life's all, on the line. You guys are protect and serve. But how did you guys get to a point where you're like, I feel worthless, or I feel like I got nothing going for me, or this depression? Where does the depression come from?
Everybody has a different experience. It's going to be either cumulative through the entire workforce, or you are going to experience something that is going to change your life. And for me, that's what it was. I was involved in a shooting where I actually had to take somebody's life. And it's difficult, right? Because you sign up for this job and you say, yeah, whatever it takes, I'm going to do it. If I have to pull that trigger, I will. Yet nobody prepares you for the aftermath of it, right? And so for me, that was really a turning point in my career with my mental health. There was really no resources. It was like, okay, well, you're having issues. First you suppress them, right? And then as your behavior starts changing, people sometimes start noticing, and there will be those people that say, hey, what's going on? But for the most part, there aren't. I was lucky enough that somebody reached out and said, hey, seems like you need some help.
And they don't have protocol for when you're in that situation where you have to take someone's life, or whether it was by accident or by force, with intention, there's no hey, this is required therapy or something like that.
There is a protocol, and it's very, I think Dave can attest to this. You go see a shrink, and for the most part, everybody will say, oh, I'm good. Put me back on the street. Yeah. And that's really what I did too, because what are people going to think, right? If I say I'm not okay after this incident, that makes me look weak. When I'm supposed to be out here, that's my job. Right. So yeah, you're supposed to go see a psychiatrist, and they clear you to go back to work. Usually that happens within a week or so. Got it. But that's the protocol. I don't know if it's different with the sheriffs.
And don't get us wrong, not everybody that is law enforcement or first responders is going to have the same emotions that we have or be in the same spot. And we had very different careers and very different experiences, and our feelings are even different. And what we battle every day is different. The difference is that we're willing to be vulnerable with each other and to others to share our experiences because we want to get past this. A lot of people don't understand what it's like to go to a job that you're told that as soon as you go to work and you put on that uniform, you're a target. Right. That people want to kill you. Now, when you take that uniform off, you're supposed to go out into the community that you're taught to not trust, and now trust them. Right. And function in that. And that's difficult. How do you go back and forth like that? We've seen that as a society, 10, 12 years ago, it was community-based policing, right? They wanted to change how police work was done because they thought that there was a more effective way to be a part of the community and police with the community. But we haven't changed those tactics for policing ourselves when it comes to mental fitness. That we haven't changed how we address mental fitness and how we treat each other. So, it's time for us to change those tactics and those techniques, and those non-traditional therapies are just as effective.
Yeah. So this is my business mind, going 100 miles an hour. Like, have you guys taken, this program to different departments? I'm assuming to say like, hey, when this happens, yes, the shrink is step one, but it's not step one and then you're done. It's step 1, 2, and 3, and we can fulfill those in between steps. I'm assuming with a smirk on your guys' face. Yeah.
Yeah, and money.
Yeah.
Number one is usually the issue. 2, we've heard that departments don't want to be the first ones to sign up for our program. We've heard because it is non-traditional that they don't want to support the program. That they've even suggested that we go to the traditional companies that are out there, the psychiatrists, and we sign up with them. And part of our thing is therapy is not for everybody.
Right.
So you want us to go to an outlet that some guys and gals out there are saying, like, hey, I don't want to go do that. I'm not comfortable. And we're offering something different, but you want us to join with a traditional therapy. It doesn't send the right message as far as we're concerned. What do you?
Not only that, but I think sometimes when we think about like this program, I think when people think about this program, it's that you have to be broken to come here, right?
Yeah.
You have to have some sort of issue, whether mental health or whatever it may be. But that's not the case. Like, what we're also trying to do is give officers, first responders, veterans these skills that they can implement if maybe they start feeling this way. Hey, now you've picked up some skills, some traits that you can do to combat these feelings or work through these feelings. Like, you don't have to be broken to come through a program like this. And I think that's kind of the breaking point, right? Like, people are seeing this as like, oh, I got to send my officers when they're going through this, or I got to go.
Because by that time, it's probably, like you said, it's accumulative. It's
right.
It's not just one thing anymore. It's a lot.
So for first responders and like when you think about this should be a tool that they're given, just like when you go to arrest and control techniques, you go learn CPR. Like, let's learn skills that work for ourselves too, not just deal with it in the aftermath.
Right. Yeah. So, do you think there is going to be space one day with enough testimonies or I mean, I'm sure you guys have been, how long have you been doing this for?
We've been doing the nonprofit for.
Sorry, I'm going back and forth. I don't have this cool setup. I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. We've been doing the nonprofit for 4 years, but we've really been doing our equine assisted learning for the last over a year. And really, we wanted to take it down to nothing and build it up, so that we knew that it was going to serve the clientele that we wanted to go after. First responders are a different breed.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to build something that was genuine and something that was, tested and worked, and we could provide testimonies from ourselves, and really base programs that would work towards us,
right.
and something that was gonna help. And the reality is that as a business owner, right, as an entrepreneur, you would have no problem going to an executive coach, would you?
No.
Okay. Now, you'd have no problem going to a life coach, right?
No.
Okay. Same thing.
Yeah.
All right. We all work in patterns, right?
Right.
And I always tell people, you took a shower the same way today that you did for the last 4 or 5 years, and we do the same thing. We just watch that pattern. We ask you to take the horse and to move the horse from point A to point B. And maybe we say, well, we don't want you to use the blue lead rope. There might be 6 different colored lead ropes out there. And we just stand back and we watch. And we see how people work that problem. Because the same way they're working that problem, they're working every problem in their daily life. And that's why this program works for first responders, veterans, moms, dads, executives, teachers, students, kids, everybody out there, right? And then when you get stuck, we just talk about it. And we let you explore some of the different options that you haven't tried. And then you try some of those options. We didn't change the pattern. We just gave you a different resource and you made the change, and when you get that positive result, your brain goes, wow, that was amazing.
Right.
And now it goes into the experimental phase and goes, well, hey, Jesse, if I tried this with a green rope, didn't work. I don't know. Let's see.
Yeah.
And you see the excitement, and they grab the green rope and they do it. And they're like, wow, that was amazing. It worked. What about if I use a purple rope? Let's see.
Yeah.
What if I go home and I try this at home? Am I going to get a different result? I don't know. Why don't you go home and see?
Yeah.
And then they come back the next week and they're like, you know what? I sat down and I tried the same technique with my family and we had a conversation. And it started a different reaction.
You beat me to the question, because I was literally going to say, like, what, I know you guys are saying these techniques are working with the horses, and you're able to translate these skills or the knowledge into life. You're kind of, I think you're hitting the tip of the iceberg on this, but like for somebody, taking it to a sheriff's, PD, or whatever the case may be, and you're trying to sound like these are translatable, skill sets. How would you, or what else besides like decisions, or saying like, hey, if A doesn't work, I can try B, C. What other skill sets do you think bring to the table where you're like, it's starting to help first responders kind of get out of that?
I think one of the biggest ones that we've seen is first responders. They have a hard time asking for help.
Got it.
We will literally, say like, well, maybe you could ask for help.
Mm.
Yeah, maybe you could.
Okay.
And they will literally stand there and look at us.
So just stare.
Just stare.
Like we're speaking another language.
The words need to come out of their mouth.
Yeah.
That is the hardest thing. I mean, I
Yeah.
still struggle with asking for help myself.
Oh yeah, huh? Yes.
Yeah. I just moved my storage the other day by myself,
Yeah.
and I was telling Dave, I was like, there was a moment in that time where I was like, dang, like nobody's fucking here helping me.
Yeah.
And then I had to take a step back and I had to ask myself, did you ask anybody for help? Nope, I did not.
Yeah.
And I only had myself to blame. I finished transferring my storage and it was done with it. And I was like, that's the number one hardest thing, like is asking for help.
Damn, that hit hard for me, because I've been there, and maybe using not just the first responders' point of view, but entrepreneurs and like CEOs or business owners, like we don't know how to ask for help. Like I remember, like I said, I was at the gym, took down the whole gym, and may or may not have asked for help, but I definitely did it for a while. And I was like, after I packed it up and everything, I was like, no one came to help me. And it's like, well, I also didn't ask for it. So like, but it translates very well. I mean, obviously, I'm not putting my life on the line, but I think you're dealing with so many people, and I have to suppress. Like some people piss me off, and I'm just like, smile and wave, and then at the end of the day, I'm just like angry, and I don't want to deal with anybody. And I could see myself coming to something like this and just saying like, you kind of forcing me to help, or forcing me to ask for help. And I can see how that can translate to even the business.
Yeah, and it's great because it resonates right with you, right? You're not in law enforcement, but it resonates to people. And when you think about like in law enforcement, we're the ones who are supposed to be helping people.
Right.
Like it's almost like, how dare I need help, right? And we need to get out of that mentality that we are, we're like superhuman,
right?
And we never need help, whether that be in everyday life things like me moving my storage, or me saying, I'm not doing well up here mentally. I need help.
Yeah.
That is the biggest struggle, is admitting that we're not okay.
Yeah, that's huge. I think. Go ahead.
We also have to give up this mentality that we have to control everything.
Yeah.
Like we function in chaos. We thrive in chaos. That it's fun, it's exciting, but we also try and control every situation. So I don't want to give up that control because somebody may not do it the right way and something bad may happen. So I want to be there to effectively like have my role in it. And it's silly because I would give up, when I was working, I would give up time with my family to pick up a shift or to work or to stay late, because in my mind, if I wasn't there and one of my partners got into something and they got hurt, it would be my fault, which is absolutely insane now that I think about it. Like I can't control and I can't protect everybody.
Right.
Bad things happen to good people.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
And we will never understand why. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we don't need to understand why things happen. We just have to accept them and understand that like we just have to deal with the cards that were dealt.
Right.
And I think for me too, like I also had to learn, and I'm still learning and still struggle with like, asking for help, but also knowing that I can't control everything, and you surround yourself with people that are there, that are going to help you, and you have to trust them.
Yeah.
And if we make a mistake as a team, then we work as a team to correct it, and we learn, and we build this dynamic organization that thrives. But
right.
I can't do it all by myself. And yeah, it's asking for help, being vulnerable, communication, and I think you asked for an experience when like one of these skills.
Yeah.
I'll talk about one of my participants that isn't a first responder and has been dealing with mental health issues for a very long time and was just tired and didn't have a sense of hope.
Got it.
And had to be pushed to go into this program. And through the program in just a couple weeks, my biggest focus was to get that person to understand that there is hope and what gives that person hope, because that's what we build on to get to the next thing. And that's huge.
Yeah. Well, just real quick, obviously you don't have to go into detail. I don't want you to share all the secrets on here, but a quick summary of someone who's like, okay, well, what does the program consist of? Like a few bullet points. Like what are you guys doing? What's the purpose? And like what's the end goal for that? Just something simple.
I think you've been on both sides of it, so you're probably the best person to.
Yeah. So when you come here, you're gonna do groundwork with the horses. A lot of people think that it's riding. It's all groundwork. So you're doing exercises with the horses. We have a variety of different exercises that we put people through depending on what we're trying to achieve with that person. And it's really just we give them a small portion of the exercise and kind of tell them what to do, and then see what they do with it, right? And from there we're able to see, like Dave was talking about, that sticking point when they run into a problem, and then we go from there. This isn't therapy where you come in here and talk about like what's going on like in your life. We're very forward focused, right? So what are the things that we're seeing you're having trouble with, and then how can we work on those so that you're able to move forward and use those skills.
So it's not to I just want for people to know, you're not replacing, traditional therapy. You're adding it's another tool to the tool belt, correct?
Yeah.
And that's just so I want people to hear that, because I know some people are like, or they'll associate it. Well, therapy doesn't work for me. Well, like you said, for the last 35 minutes, it's not. Therapy isn't for everybody, but this is a form of therapy that's more, like you said, forward focused, hands on. You come in, you're. I would say, and I'll say from personal experience, just with the little experience I've had, it helps me get out of my mind. Like I put my phone on do not disturb. I didn't even have I can't remember the last time I didn't have music playing in my ear, whether it's car, work, doing business, just generally, and I was able to just put the stuff away, do not disturb, and I was able to get out of my mind and just kind of work with the animal that could, kick me to death if he wanted to. You know what I mean? So like, but I got to focus, and it was kind of cool because I got into my car, I just took like a deep breath. I was like, whew, I don't know how to explain it, but it was able to get me out of my head. Now, I've only done therapy once or twice, and it's not for me. I don't need someone telling me I have problems. That's just me. But I don't mind a horse keeping me on my toes and me working with it and being able to just. I had to ask for help because I didn't know how to put it down, the harness on. Then I had to be careful and cognizant of where I was stepping, how to control. Kind of even read the horse, because there was one where he got, I think it was a tomahawk. He kind of got, I don't know, like the moment he got up, I was like, I'm done. I'm dying today. Like it was, but he barely just lifted up. But it was just a different experience. And although I wasn't really I was doing it for volunteer, it allowed me to kind of just, I don't know how to explain it.
I think you hit some good points, right? Like getting out of your head. There was a couple times that I did in my sessions, like I didn't even know there was birds here. until I actually took a moment to listen, get out of my head, and I realized, oh, like I can hear all these birds,
Yeah.
right? Because I wasn't so focused on all those things in my head. So I mean, you hit a good point on that, and getting out of your head when you come here and you're doing the exercises, it's a great way to explain it. Like because you have to focus on the horse, on the exercise that you're doing, and that's really how that hands-on experience comes in.
Yeah, because I think when you say it out loud, traditional therapy kind of makes you pull like deep into the deep dark thoughts of your thoughts, and sometimes people just aren't ready for that, or they don't want that, or it doesn't work for them. Here, it's like the opposite. Hey, get out of your head because you have a task to focus on, and so that's pretty cool. But yeah, we're already at 35 minutes. I mean, we could probably go on forever. I'd rather people come here and experience it for themselves. But is there anything that you feel like you want to talk about that we missed, or some key points?
I think he said we're boring him. He's got to go.
No way. No way.
35 minutes, I got
30 minutes.
I give a timestamps for people. Hey,
He's like, I'd love to keep going.
no,
but
let's get out of here. Sorry, they already look tired over there.
You guys don't do it for me, so I'm not.
Not even. I just want to make sure that we're keeping a good momentum, because apparently I've been self-conscious ever since this one person told me over breakfast that I talk too much. I don't want to point any fingers, but yeah.
Well, you and I have never had breakfast, so it must be somebody else.
Yeah. And literally that was the first thing he ever told me. And ever since that day, I've always been self-conscious about it. So now I gotta.
Well, as long as you're not cutting my hair and trying to talk to me about everything.
Again, the first thing, and you know what's even funny is that he asked me the question. I only answered questions he asked, and later we walked on. He's like, Jay, you talk a lot. I'm like, what? You asked me questions.
Maybe you asked me questions.
So now when I'm sitting with him, like when he interviewed me out there in front, like I literally had a timer on my wrist. So you can probably see the videos, like looking at time, like making sure I was on point.
That would explain why you're alys looking at the.
Because I get with him.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you, because it sounds like a you problem.
No. Everyone else I can talk to, everyone loves to hear my voice. You're the only one. Yeah.
Well, I think that's because Dave only likes to hear his own voice.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. Two people like to hear their own voice.
Maybe there's a word counter on this. We can see how much you guys spoke. That's fine.
No, you spoke the most. Trust me. You spoke the most, which is fine.
What is this? Because you know the most about the program.
You're supposed to.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for building me up.
But is there certain things that you feel like you want to touch? Because again, you just said best. I'm only asking from third person. Like I'm out, and I kind of see what you guys do, but I've never experienced it. I see the people that come in and that are willing to share the stories, but I never get to see their end of the journey. I don't see the back end where you have talked to different departments and said, hey, this is what, and you getting shut down. Like, so you guys experience those, those things. So I can only ask so much before you guys are like, all right, now it's time to kind of get into like the things that you are like, hey, you know what, people, like, this is something that's on my chest. You guys don't know how much we're fighting for you to make this program accessible, and they're shutting us down for whatever reason. So like, you know what I mean? So this is kind of your moment to shine and talk about the secrets.
You go ahead. I'll sit here first. Go ahead.
I mean, just you saying it right now makes me think of like when you talk about like we're getting shut down, right? Like we actually have people that want to go through the program, and the departments are saying, oh, we don't have the money, or we can't. Like, we will actually, like, for myself, I can speak for myself too. Like, when I was contacted, I was retired already. I didn't know how. I'm like, hey Dave, I don't know how I'm gonna pay for this. Like, I want to go through the program. He's like, don't worry about it. We'll fundraise. We'll raise the funds so that you can come to the program, and that's what happened. And then he couldn't get me to leave, and that's why I'm here now.
Yeah.
It's like a cat, like a street cat. You don't feed
the cat. They learn, and they learn fast.
We gave her a title thinking that maybe someone will scoop her up and give her a job.
You just had to give me a job.
You gave her the experience, and you kept it here.
We're writing your resume right now.
So
if you're a headhunter and you want to find her a place to stay.
I mean, Hollywood. But so going back to that, we're fundraising for these officers because we don't see the departments doing I don't want to say they're not doing anything, right? But they're not doing much. And when you have only the traditional therapy to where they're referring them to, like not everybody wants to go to traditional therapy,
Right.
And we can't get out of that mindset. And mind you, there are better programs now. Like have they come a long way? Yes. Like I retired in 2017, and I know that they've come a long way since then, right? They have peer support. They have contracts with these therapists, but that's not for everybody. Not everybody feels that they can trust peer support within their department.
Right.
Not everybody feels that they're getting ahead, going to therapy. And so why not offer these other non-traditional forms of therapy so that they can experience something else?
Right. Can it be a state? Can you go above, the county or city? Can you go like to the state and say like, hey, can we get state funded?
So that would be great, but I think the state actually just gave a lot of these police departments money for mental health.
Got it. Mental health meaning prescriptions and
No,
be done with
meaning
it, or
whatever programs the department feels
gotcha.
is good. So whether that's
Gotcha.
dumping more money into the contracts for the psychiatrist,
Right.
or investing in gym equipment, or lounge chairs, or whatever the case may be, which that's how they choose to spend their money. But when you have officers that are saying, I want to go to this program
Right.
because I think it will be beneficial for my mental health, and there's no money in the coffer because it was spent on other things, we need to question if that was really prudent to do that.
Right. Can it be petitioned based? Like I'm sure, like you said, it's hard because I can only imagine, law enforcement, like no one wants to sign the paper first, but I'm sure if once someone does, it's like I get it, I need help, or I know that my fellows, they do, in arms, like they need help too, like my brothers in arms need help, so can you take a petition to the state, or I'm just curious. I'm just kind of someone's gonna rack their brain on this when they hear it, and they're probably gonna think of things. But that's what I'm trying to get the juices flowing. Like, is there certain other things that you can kind of do, or kind of just feel like you're stuck at the moment?
We're open to anything.
Yeah, we really are. It's hard to understand because some of the things we hear is like, oh, it's a liability, right? We're accepting the fact that our officers, maybe have mental health issues, or they need to deal with mental health things, but you're already sending them to traditional therapy.
Yeah.
So where's the shift in the liability? Why not come to a non-traditional therapy? Like, I don't understand.
Is it because now it's open, and I'm sure like the traditional for them is it's still hush hush, like you're in your own little corner, your own department, nothing ever goes out. Out here, now you're sharing your story most likely. You're meeting people who are maybe dealing with the same issues. Now you're in the public eye, where I'm curious if that's like one of the reasons why they kind of like no sorry, because now you're making it really now known that hey, officers do struggle because they're not the ones with problems, they're the ones fixing it, and you carry those problems on your shoulder for however long, and you just get crushed under the weight. So I'm curious if that's something that they see.
We have it's not just law enforcement, it's also fire departments too.
Right.
And the grants didn't go to the fire departments this round. It was, so we're speaking that for police departments when it came to the mental health money.
Right.
But we have a fire chief that is very supportive of our program and has sent two of his personnel down here and was very supportive of them. But you know what? He doesn't have a budget to send
The whole
people down here. And then we have guys and gals that come through here, and we open it up to their spouses too, because we've also seen that once you start working on one person in the relationship, the other person then is kind of left behind. They've been that caregiver without really knowing that they were a caregiver, and have dealt with all these issues, and now one person is becoming a little bit more resilient, and so we want them to work together to grow together. Otherwise, they grow apart, right?
They grow apart, right?
So it's not just an issue of that first responder; it's their family. Spouses of first responders also deal with their own traumas. They get the PTSD from living with the person that has the PTSD.
Right.
And
they start to get their own triggers.
And not understanding why.
Yeah.
They don't understand why I come home and I'm just in a really bad mood and don't want to communicate or talk.
Right.
Right.
Do you happen to have certain things that are like maybe group therapy, like something like this, where you sit down and talk on like small groups? You're not working with a horse, but you're just kind of coming in and having like sharing your guys' mental state. Maybe I'm curious if that could be a stepping stone for something.
We are actually starting a peer support group. It is going to be a closed group, so it's going to be for public safety, and anybody that wants to join will be vetted, and that's just to keep the confidentiality of the group and the people in the group. It's not just going to be like hey, everybody, come over here, because that is one of the biggest things, right? Peer support. We talk about peer support. It's like I don't feel comfortable, or like where's the confidentiality, right? If I tell you something, are you gonna go tell my lieutenant, and then you're gonna go now I'm off work, and so there is that, and that's one of the reasons why the peer support group that we will be having will be a closed group, and everybody will be vetted to be in the group.
And I'm assuming can you sign like a non-disclosure, or does that really matter? I'm just curious.
No, at that point it would be like if find out that you're sharing information of it's the confidentiality is like of the utmost importance.
Right.
Like if we don't have that, then it's a failed group, right? And if
Right.
people can't feel safe coming to a peer support group and talking, then there's no point in having a peer support group. So at that point, if
It's causing more stress.
right, absolutely. So that person would be asked to leave if we were to find that they were sharing information, and that's why anybody that wants to join the group, like they'll be welcome, they will be vetted.
Got it. Now, last question. I think this is going to be a bigger picture. What is one of the biggest goals you guys want here? Whether is it, your own ranch one day where you're not, whether it's here or I don't know. Just like I'm just giving examples. Your own ranch. Maybe you have this many, first responders or just individuals coming through a month. Maybe you're within all this many departments. Like, what would be like the ultimate goal if you had to say like, this is what we're working towards? I'm curious. I think that'd be kind of cool to see how big this can get.
I think I'm going to speak for both of us.
We'll see.
It's going to be a good answer.
We'll see if I agree.
All right. Well, our goals are going to be different 2 months from now because we're always trying to come up with something new and something different. So, I don't know that that's really a good answer for us because we're always trying to do.
You just said it was going to be a good answer.
Yeah. It's a no answer.
Well, cut that part out.
Well, too late. It's raw. It's live.
It's raw.
Because we're raw dog.
It was raw. I gave the warning at the beginning.
Okay. All right.
He wants to hear your answer first. That's what it is.
Well, it was good, but then you're staring at me. Made me nervous. Made me nervous. Got anxiety.
Yeah. I think
we've already given our answer.
Yeah.
You're done. We've already gone. We're at 48 minutes.
We got plenty of time. Let's go. Hit me with the grandiose, like, just like what you envision.
I think because of my experience, I would love nothing more than for agencies to be accepting of a program like this.
Yeah.
And granted, I can only speak to my own experiences, right? But like when you come here and you see how it works for yourself and then able to see how it works for other people, you just want to get it out there.
Yeah.
And to have agencies, whether it be police, fire, be able to send their people here and just experience the difference that it makes in their lives, I think would be like the overall goal. It's not about the money, obviously, numbers, things like that. I mean, we're a nonprofit, right? Like we're not here to get rich. We're both here to help people.
Right.
I think I can speak for you. Am I able to speak for you on that? We're both here to help people.
He wants the money.
I just want a cowboy jacuzzi. That's it.
Oh, What?
What's a cowboy?
It's a water trough that turned into a jacuzzi. It's like some low budget hillbilly thing.
So just like
He just gets in with his boots on.
Yeah.
Only his boots.
Only his boots.
It's just him.
Why are you judging? This is a safe environment for.
Safe. This is a
Apparently
safe corner.
everybody-
We're gonna have separate ones.
Yeah.
I said I want one. I didn't say you were gonna be invited. It's just like
That's where everyone goes where they're like, what's the next thing he's in? Is just with a cigar or beer?
I'm gonna vet everybody.
Yes, that's where he vets everybody. It's gonna be on a pedestal, so you have to like walk up to it. But that's I think that would be really, honestly, that would be cool. So, out of curiosity, because you are a nonprofit, right? So, would you, if the agencies could cover half of it, would there be a way to then like make payments for people, or like, I mean, like, do agencies usually cover a full therapy session
We've only had one agency, actually. How many agencies that we had paid?
Yeah, one.
Yeah. So they cover the 100% of who comes in, right?
We went out to agencies and said we will cover half of the cost, just so that you guys can see what we do.
Right.
And we had one agency that said, "I'll take you up on it. How many spots can I have?" And we can give you one. And he said, "Can I get two?"
Yeah.
And so we did two.
Yeah.
And that's disheartening.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I want people to hear this, because I think like is there a way, let's take out the agencies. What is the best way someone who's hearing this and says, you know what? I know someone who's struggling. I'm the one struggling. I don't believe people should be struggling. Like, what's the best way to kind of get the momentum going? You guys are doing, I think, amazing. Again, I don't know the back and stuff, but every time I come here, you guys are always having events. people are smiling all the time. You got the dogs barking. You got the horses, running around, neighing. You got the environment, right? But what is missing? Do you think that people can add to help this build that momentum?
I think we just need to get out there more. I think doing things like this is beneficial. We're gonna start doing testimonials on people that have come through and have those up on our website and our social media. But it's really just getting in front of people, and if we could get people to come here and just experience it, like if we go to an agency and whether it be the deputy chief, the chief, we'll put them through a session.
Right.
To show them. We've done that several times for different agencies and put one of their people through to show them, and it's always like it's crickets after that.
Yeah.
Because the people that they're sending aren't the people that are making decisions, and that's frustrating. It's frustrating for us, and it's frustrating for the person that gets sent down here,
right?
And goes through the program. And granted, our program isn't gonna benefit everybody. Right? It has the potential to, but you know what? If you're not open to the experience and you're not vulnerable and you don't want to get something out of it, then it's not going to work for you. So it's like therapy isn't going to work may not work for some people, or medications may not work for some people.
It sounds like the people that are bringing in though is kind of like they're doing it to like almost like a chore, like they were told to. Maybe that's why they're not bringing in that same like I'm ready to change, kind of like this can work for me.
I think they're ready for that.
Okay.
But like that's where Rebel Ranch comes into it. Like let's question it.
Yeah.
Let's question this culture. Don't just send people down here for a show. Don't just give us lip service.
That's what I was looking for. Show.
If you want to make a difference, hey, we're offering something that could make a difference. So give us a shot. Don't just say that you care and then don't do anything about it.
Right. So out of curiosity, would you guys be, for those who are listening, like having like a once a week or I know you guys are always having events, but like once every weekend, there's come down and train with the horse, right? Like and just start building like nonprofit stuff and like getting that social media, that content going, even going to like the agencies and just saying like, hey guys, like no, there's no strings attached, just come down. And just train real quick. Like just gain as many guys as you can. I mean, is there like something that like is there a missing link? Do you think?
We're open to it.
Yeah.
The missing link is people admitting that mental health is an epidemic
Right.
in our society, and that we all deal with it. So
Right.
I deal with mental health issues. That's where that statement needs to stop. It's mental. Most people say, "Well, mental health is really plaguing our communities," but it's everybody else, right? I think we need to look at ourselves first,
Got it.
and then admit that, hey, I have mental health issues. Then I'm doing things to be better for myself and for the people around me. And once we accept that and we can move forward for ourselves, then we start to change the culture around mental fitness. You know, we've gone to a school district and said, hey, we have a program and we're willing to offer it for free.
Yeah.
And we got the runaround.
That's crazy.
So how are we trying to help students?
Yeah.
If we're not willing to help.
Do you think there's another word that you guys? I'm not saying to run from mental health. I'm just curious as like another word that can just bring people in, and then they can realize like, hey, this isn't just for the reason you told me. It's also like I realize that I'm struggling with mental health. Like I'm just curious if there's another word that can be used.
Why should we shy away from it though? Like we're trying to say we need to change the culture, so let's not shy away from it. Let's hit it head on. That's what we're trying to do. And I think that's where we need to stay.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Mental health, mental fitness, mental whatever, you call it purple. It doesn't matter what we call it, let's just address it and let's start doing some things. And it's not to say that there aren't programs or organizations or communities or departments that are not doing for their employees and their families, but it's time that as a culture we change the way we look at it and we start doing
it. It's so funny because I feel like every time I go on Instagram, it's someone staging their phone and then crying and then staging another phone and crying again. So it's like there's a part of the world that does seem to think mental health is like is normal, right? So what do you think is stopping like the people that you're trying to attract? Like why do you think that they're the ones that are like everyone else is dealing with it, not me? So because I feel like the world is changing. Like I literally every other post I see, it's someone
I think they throw a lot around and the stigma, right? And the stigma. What are we doing to end the stigma? You can't just throw words out and expect for things to change.
Okay.
Because I hear that a lot, and I agree with you. I've seen it. It's more prevalent in social media where people are expressing their feelings. But that's not the only platform where we can express our feelings.
Right.
And are we really gaining anything from just putting it out there on social media? Because you know that you're gonna get the haters, right? Like, oh, you're just doing this for attention.
Yeah.
You're gonna get the people that are, that are empathetic towards what you're going through. But is that really doing anything for you?
Right.
And if it is, that's great, right? But I think that's just the only outlet that we've seen so far. Is people putting their stuff out on social media, and there could be a purpose for it. I don't know. I can do it myself.
Yeah.
Maybe that's how they feel that they're overcoming their obstacles, but I think we just need to stop throwing words out. And actually do something about it.
It's kind of cool you said because I feel like the end of stigma could be like almost like an event you guys hold. That literally showcases like, hey, we all have it. But we're ending, like, today's the day where we accept it. You know what I mean? That would be kind of a cool, just throwing it out there, like, I'm just using, we'll end the stigma like an event, like, where, like, you hold it once a month and it's just people saying, like, hey, come in and acknowledge you have it. Doesn't mean it's bad, doesn't mean it's good, it just means you have it, acknowledge it, and these are the things. So, I don't know, that might be a cool thing for you. If you guys say you do different, that would be kind of a cool way to attack it, I think. Just saying, but maybe you have already.
I think you volunteered.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah. I'll tell people. I mean, I have, again, I talk from a business standpoint. I'm telling you right now, as a business owner, I struggled with loneliness. I struggled with, maybe the same concept of like I wasn't supposed to have problems. I was a problem fixer. So I know what that looked like. I struggled with not being able to relate with people because they go home, they clock in, clock out, and I was still, cleaning, looking at paper. Like I was doing something. Like there was as the more and more I was a business owner, it started getting separated from people, and then I had no one else to go to. But I had other business owners, but then guess what? They were in their own little circle dealing with their own crap. So it's just like from that perspective, if I were to come to an event that was catered to, hey guys, like business owners, I'm just using that as an example, like you guys all have problems. Today's the day we acknowledge them, we take a step forward to addressing them.
No, I think that's a great idea, and I think with May coming up and Mental Health Awareness Month coming up, there's a lot of things that we have.
Ready? Let's keep that thought real quick.
We ran out of time.
There's no paid version. I want to pay for it, but ready?
We ended at 12 minutes.
No. Let me save it.
This guy.
I'll call it.
That's your phone telling you that you talk too much.
No. Alright, ready?
How's our audio?
Sorry.
Are we having a reset?
No, I'm sorry. We're good.
I can see the top of Patrick's cowboy hat still. We're good.
we're back on. We're back on. It's not often. I need something better than this because I don't know why and it's funny because I tried a laptop. I'm like, a laptop for sure. And every 5 minutes it shut off on me. And I'm like, what the hell? So I'm probably need to change from podcasters, whatever it's called. I call it Anchor because that's all I know it as, but it's not Anchor. I need to do something different that allows me to script. I'm thinking of going to the script, so maybe we won't have this problem. But anyways, your thought, you were saying.
I lost my train.
Yeah, I know that was gonna happen.
Starting all over again from the beginning.
From the beginning.
No, we were talking about mental health, and you were talking about the event, and with May being Mental Health Awareness Month, we have some ideas that we want to put together for that month to kind of get the word out there and different things, right, that we can do here on the ranch. Because yes, we have the horses, we have the dogs, but there's a lot that we can incorporate for mental fitness here. So we have some ideas on the horizon for that, and hopefully get people to come and see what we're about.
I have a quick question on thank you for the answer. I have a quick question. What's the difference between the horse and the dog? Obviously the animal. I'm saying like the program.
One's bigger.
Yeah. One part. No, but like let's say I came in, right, and I was like, well, I don't want to deal with the horse. I want to deal with the dog, or like, someone's like, I don't want to deal with the dog, I want to deal with the horse. Like, what's the difference between that for those who are kind of curious? Like, where do the dogs come into play, and where do the horses come into play?
The horses are used for the equine assisted learning. So
Right.
that's the sole purpose for the horses. The dog side of it, we train service dogs. We have therapy dogs, and then we even have like basic obedience classes and things like that.
So the horse is for the therapy, and then the dogs would say you're for service.
Yes.
You're not using the dogs for therapy. That's what I'm trying to say.
We have therapy dogs.
Okay.
So the difference between a service dog and a therapy dog is that a service dog performs a specific task for a person with a disability.
Got it.
Whereas a therapy dog goes to a public venue and they provide comfort to a
hospital.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. So that's another part of.
So they're two separate programs.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just want to make sure because I'm just curious. I was kind of that was a question like a while ago and I totally forgot about it. But so there is a difference. So they're not the same program. So someone coming to you would be
right. So under the umbrella of Rebel Ranch now being the main name, we have Paws for Success, which is the horse side of it. I'm sorry, the dog side of it. And then you have the Horses for Heroes program, which is obviously the horse side of it.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So our nonprofit is still Paws for Success, DBA Rebel Ranch. So we're still a nonprofit. It's just we needed that umbrella to clear up some of the confusion and to really challenge this culture behind mental fitness.
I have another idea. I'm just curious. Could you know how there's homeschool programs all over the place, and a lot of them need like extracurricular activities like that. Could you apply for those programs and see if you can be part of their like extracurricular or even I don't know if it would fall under physical ed, but there are like I know for me personally for the gym I was gonna do something like that. I never got around to it. I did get accepted. There's like 20 different program so to speak schools, but that might help get you guys kind of getting in there and kind of having a set program for homeschools. I think that would be kind of cool. Maybe that's just an idea. See if that would work for you guys. There might be some liability stuff. But
Good idea.
yeah, literally that would probably get you going. And then maybe as the program's growing, you can give it that title of, you know, not so much mental awareness, but something catering to mental toughness. And as you see that program growing, you know, you could probably branch into like, it's funny because you know you guys want to tackle the law enforcement, but they're the hardest ones right now.
Right.
But imagine going to different jobs that I'll say nurses. Nurses deal with death all day, every day. Why not a nursing
We
program?
actually had a
Nursing program that came in here.
Yeah.
They were nursing students, and they came and spent the day with us, and we put them through a communication course. So we've had Boys Republic,
Yeah.
local nonprofits. They put their staff through a leadership course, and they brought them down in cottages, and then we ran them through a 4-hour leadership course.
Okay.
So there's
doing things, yeah.
there's entities out there that see the benefit and
Right.
and how they can help their employees and you know help the community they serve.
Right. Yeah. No, like I said, I know you guys are doing way more than I see or anyone else sees that, you know. But and we see the results. That's all we see. We see the event. They get the event the day of the event. We don't see the amount of calls you make to make it happen, the city permits, you know, all that stuff. So I know there's so much more that goes in. I'm just throwing out ideas that can probably, hopefully, you know, trigger someone out there listening, saying like, hey, I know programs that, you know, like I said, homeschooling programs. That might be a cool one. Nursing programs or any jobs that deal with death, I guess would be cool too. Or not death, people like special needs programs. That would be kind of, I don't know. I feel like I may be putting the first responders, I mean, not on the back burner, but like on the side.
And we work with a special needs company, an ABA company, and we've had programs here in the summer. We had a social skills program working with them. So we see the importance of and the benefits of this program for everybody in the community.
Got it.
And we have had those, and I think that the events are important.
Yeah.
Because we're able to bring something to the community and also able to highlight what we do around here. So I think maybe people just don't know, right?
Right.
So the events are important, but we're working with as many people as we can until we can get into that niche that we're so passionate about, which is law enforcement and public safety.
But it does show how diverse you guys, or how diverse the program can. I mean, I think even though it's not going towards the true passion that you have right now, you are showing the world that like, hey, we are for everyone. You know that needs it.
Mhm.
That's the point.
We
So,
just need we need the roadblocks to be removed. Like
yeah.
Jesse brought up the ABA company that we work with, and we do an event with them at least every quarter, and they're a great company, Behavior Highway. They have exceptional staff, and they help us with our program needs and help us to develop new things. And they actually went to Inland Regional Center, and they're working at trying to get funding for special need programs here in conjunction with them. But you know what? That process takes a long time.
Yeah.
There's a need, but it's all the bureaucracy. So, you know, people want to do different, then they need to remove some of these roadblocks.
Right. No, I get it. I mean, I guess we're going to be saying the same things over and over again, but pretty much I just want everyone to know. Come support, right? Come
Absolutely.
to the events. If you feel alone, lost, helpless, depressed, anxious, this is the place to start. If you can start anywhere. If you're going to start anywhere, might as well start here.
Or even if you just want to,
You were about to say hug. You were going to offer hugs. That's I
Yeah.
heard it. Yes, you could hear it, couldn't you?
I was gonna say what I was gonna say is hone in on the skills that you already have, which is why the hook came out. I will
hug you.
You know what? If you need a hug,
Yeah.
Dave here he's great at
It's not that
hugs.
you just need a hug, though.
You know?
Yeah.
You want to give Jay a hug? I think he needs a hug.
No, I talk too much.
Talk
Oh,
to
okay.
I talk too much.
You might whisper stuff in your ear.
Yeah, so, and once he starts talking to me, I'm
That's
start hold him and just start whispering straight in his ear.
He just starts crying.
That's what he gets.
Put a camera on me.
You said I could be.
Yeah,
you said
but-
I could be vulnerable.
Get the right angle. Put the camera on my. It's so funny, and not to talk. Before we end it, it just blows my mind that I see somebody, they're doing dishes, and the camera's like perfect lighting, and then they're like crying doing dishes, and then it cuts to the next scene, and they're like positioned like perfectly on the bed, and they're like, and they're like, it's just weird, like how, like again, I don't know if that's helping them, but I just can't fathom that as like a concept of like I could see that person being helped, like this is for sure helping their internal struggles, like. It's just weird. Like I can only imagine. Like how do they stop? Like do they once they get it, they cry and then they stop. They go and edit the video to where they stopped. They
No,
start
I mean,
again.
I get it, because like when I was going through my shit, I was like, I wanted to disappear off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
And here these people are like putting themselves out in front of the world.
Yeah,
Oh, I don't get it.
It's
I mean,
weird, yeah.
Whatever works.
Different strokes for different folks.
I agree.
So
I
we'll
agree.
get enough hate
Yeah.
comments. Just let's not piss those people off too.
If it works for
Great.
you, it works,
It works
for you. You
And
know?
if it doesn't, and you want to hug, Jessie's here.
Dave's here.
Yeah. Well, all right, guys. Well, thank you so much for allowing me to be part of your first episode and collabing this together. You're a lot of insight. And I think that you're right. The world needs to know that we all struggle. Like anyone who says I don't have mental issues, either you lived in a bubble your whole life, or you're lying to yourself. And even if you're living in a bubble, you probably are going insane anyways. So you probably do have mental issues. So like either way, like if you're a human, you're dealing with something. So and I love to see how diverse you guys are. And I hope people hear that you shed light on their careers. Like your guys are a very respectable career, but the amount of pressure you guys are put on yourselves and on each other is insane. And you guys are only human. You can only carry that so much. And again, something you said that just blew me away is you're told to take care and protect these people that they just said they are going to shoot you if they had a chance. Like so you should have that. Not everyone's going to do that, but you always have to keep one eye open and look around everywhere. So it's just crazy to see that get a little sneak peek in that life. But for anyone who's listening, where can they follow and who do they contact?
1-800 Jessie will give you a hug. So you call that number.
We're on social media, Rebel
Rebel
Ranch, CH for
CH,
Chino
okay.
Hills, rebelranch.org.
Okay.
If
And then YouTube is Rebel Ranch.
What about podcasts? Now that we are
So our podcast, Rebel Roundup. This
okay.
is our first episode.
Rebel Roundup. I
Rebel
like that.
Roundup.
I like that. Who came up with that?
Well, it's
Collaboration.
Oh, okay. Okay, sounds like some. Okay, I get it. That's cool. Rebel Roundup that's a dope name for sure.
And we want to have people out here, to talk about mental fitness issues and their experiences, and shed a light on first responders, and anybody else in the community that wants to come out here and talk to us and challenge some of these cultural stigmas that we have.
Yeah, no, I love it. And for anyone who does message you, it's as discreet as it gets, right? There's only you guys that's come out to someone says I need help.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
It's
yeah.
we had all of that with, like I said, if you don't feel safe and you don't have that confidentiality, I think all is lost.
There's no point to the program anymore, or there's no point to the relationship at all. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it, and until next time, I guess. Hopefully, next time, I'm gonna have a setup like this. You guys, I'll have a place. You guys come.
Yes.
I want to be a part of the Rebel Roundup. I still want that round table. That'd be kind of sick.
Yeah, you want to bring it over?
Yeah,
Great.
bring it. Yeah. Well, we have a round table.
Well, this right here. We'll sit right here. You know what you need? You need one of those barrel tables. Like you would have the barrel, the stand. That would fit perfect as the concept of Rebel.
I think that would be a great thing for you to bring and
donation.
Sponsor.
Okay,
our next podcast.
I guess I'll donate that instead of the fitness equipment. You're right.
Wow.
Wow. Why is it one or the other?
One or
That's-
the other. This is the pushback that we get, Jake.
We were gonna let you, brand Exovus on the top of the
Oh, right.
You know what? Now,
Nope. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you for letting me, again, be part of this journey. Thank you guys for showing me how it's done, and thank you for, sharing your guys' stories and being vulnerable as well. So thank you again.
Thank you.
All right,
thank you
guys.
for the 35 minutes. Thank you.